What was the worst thing your parents ever did to you? When I was 9, my dad promised to take me to Disney World for my birthday. I had been counting down for months, telling everyone at school. The night before we were supposed to leave, I couldn't sleep from excitement. That morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. and ran to my parents' room with my packed suitcase. My dad was sitting on the bed, fully dressed. He looked at me with this weird smile and said, "We need to make a quick stop first." The first sign something was wrong came when we passed the airport exit. I pointed it out, confused, but Dad just said we were taking a scenic route. His hands were gripping the steering wheel too tight, and he kept checking his phone at red lights. We drove for what felt like hours through neighborhoods I'd never seen. Dad made several phone calls, speaking in hushed tones. I caught fragments. "Yes, she's with me, and the payment went through this morning." When I asked who he was talking to, he said it was just work stuff. Around noon, we stopped at a diner. While Dad was in the bathroom, I overheard the waitress on the phone behind the counter. She was describing our car, our license plate, even what I was wearing. When she saw me listening, she quickly hung up and walked away. My stomach started to hurt. Back in the car, Dad's behavior became even stranger. He took a series of random turns, doubling back on roads we'd already traveled. "Are we lost?" I asked. "No," he said, but sweat was beading on his forehead despite the air conditioning, just making sure we're not being followed. That's when I noticed the black sedan. It had been behind us for at least an hour, making every turn we made. When Dad pulled into a gas station, it parked across the street. When we left, it followed. My 9-year-old mind started racing with possibilities. None of them good. Dad made another call. This time, I heard him clearly. "She doesn't suspect anything yet. We'll be there in 20 minutes. The person on the other end must have asked something because Dad looked at me in the rearview mirror and said, "No, she still thinks we're going to Disney." My blood went cold. I started to ask what he meant, but he turned up the radio loud enough to drown out my questions. The black car was still following us, and now there was a white van behind it. We entered a part of town I'd never seen before. The buildings looked institutional. All concrete and small windows. Dad pulled into the parking lot of a massive gray building. The black car and white van followed us in. There was a sign that read, "Riverside Boarding School." Several people got out of the other vehicles. They weren't wearing uniforms like school staff. They looked more like security guards, and they all seemed to know exactly why we were there. One of them walked directly to our car carrying a clipboard and an envelope. My dad got out and spoke with them for several minutes. I watched through the window as money changed hands. A thick stack of bills that Dad counted twice before nodding. The man with the clipboard handed him a receipt. "This is your new home," Dad said, opening my door. "Your mother and I decided you need to learn some discipline before you're ready for Disney World." The people from the other cars were walking toward us now, and I realized this had all been planned. The phone calls, the route changes, the following cars. It was all part of delivering me here. I started crying and begging him not to leave me. One of the security guards handed my dad another envelope, his final payment, I realized. "Maybe next year," he said, getting back in the car. "If you can prove you've changed." But his eyes wouldn't meet mine. As he drove away, the woman grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the building. I screamed for my dad until I couldn't see his car anymore. That's when she told me, "Your parents paid for a full year in advance. They said not to expect any visits." I never got to go to Disney World. I spent my 10th birthday in that place, wondering what I had done wrong. Now, I live with my aunt. She didn't have any children, so she bought me.